Because the Grey Knight Space Marine chapter is so different than most Space Marine chapters, it's easy to forget that the Grey Knights are actually Adeptus Astartes. Their gene seed might come from the Emperor, but at the end of the day, they're still some type of Space Marine chapter. However, most roles and ranks within this chapter are very unique, and they're very specific to demon hunting or killing the Psyker. The following are two examples of Space Marine ranks that exist in most Codex Astartes compliant chapters. However, within the Grey Knights, these roles truly exemplify why the Grey Knights are so good at demon hunting. First is the Chaplain, and then we're going to get into the Brotherhood Champion. Grey Knights chaplains act in a similar role to those of the other chapters, by serving as the spiritual leaders of their fellow battle brothers. However, the challenges facing a chaplain of the Grey Knights are very unique. The rigors of serving in the Grey Knights can be sometimes daunting, for the life of a Grey Knight is one of sacrifice and duty as they face the worst horrors of the warp. They will never know peace or respite, for their war is an eternal one, fighting against the vile demons of chaos. Over the many centuries of facing such malefic creatures, a battle brother will lose many comrades should he survive the countless trials and struggles against his demonic foes. Even the Grey Knights can have their faith tested, overcome by the nearly overwhelming sadness and impotent rage as he loses close comrades and commanders. Space Marines are extraordinary men, Space Marine chaplains even more so, and a chaplain of the Grey Knights is a rare specimen indeed, and the chapter has precious few. A Grey Knight's chaplain must minister to the spiritual needs of soldiers destined to fight the most horrible foes. The men of their flock constantly look at the warp and hear the whispers of demons, and yet thanks to the Grey Knight chaplain and those who have preceded him, not one Grey Knight has ever been corrupted by the arch-enemy. But sometimes there is doubt, especially in regards to the seemingly futile of the Inquisition's endless struggle against chaos, and the corruptible nature of mankind that allows the arch-enemy eternal purchase on the human soul. A Grey Knight never doubts the righteousness of his cause, for fighting a demon is not a gesture of futility. They believe it to be a true and righteous purpose, for they have seen the result of the demon's depravity. But the fight is only half the battle, for the demon is one manifestation of the arch-enemy, and its violence is but one weapon of the warp. The Inquisition battles the plans of chaos, just as the Grey Knights battle its soldiers. Sometimes, even the Inquisitors can fall to the will of the ruinous powers. Over the millennia, many Inquisitors have been lost to the temptations of chaos, though a Grey Knight knows he should never speak of such a thing. Sometimes there are renegades who hide themselves amongst the Ordos. No one ever knows how many heretics are wearing the Inquisitorial rosette. There could possibly even be some within the Ordo Malleus that direct the Grey Knights. A Grey Knight battle brother knows it is not his place, and leaves the thinking about such matters to the Inquisition. But how could they trust them if they delve so deeply into the corruption of chaos? Sometimes, battle brothers question if the battle against the corruption of chaos could ever be won. A Grey Knight's chaplain is always there to ensure their troubled battle brothers, and assure that any doubt is stomped out. For during their centuries of service, they have led the Grey Knights through every trial of the mind that chaos could ever inflict upon them. The arch-enemy's atrocities know no bounds, and only men like the Grey Knights could ever stop the insidious crimes of chaos. In a battle brother's moment of doubt, all they have to do is reflect on the fact that the Emperor continuously sends the Grey Knights to the bloodiest battlefields of the Imperium. This is no mere coincidence. By throwing themselves into those battles and butchering the demons, they would see the forces of chaos broken and fleeing. A battle brother has to take these victories and immerse themselves in them, letting victory blot out everything else. By glorifying in it, all doubt would vanish. The enemy made a grave mistake in bringing the fight to them, for the Grey Knights would drive all foes of mankind before them. All Grey Knights use psychers, while most Space Marine chapters made use of such psychers in the Librarium. Only the Grey Knights require psychic potential from all their recruits. This is what makes the Grey Knights capable of fighting the demons, for demons' most potent weapons threaten the soul itself. Demons bring with them mortal corruption, and fighting them exposes a Grey Knight to this corruption, and thus they are trained to resist it, taught prayers of willpower so potent they can drive some recruits mad. The Grey Knight's power armor is filled with sigils against the powers of the warp, the same arcane symbols of protection tattooed on their skins so that their bodies are shielded against corruption. A neophyte is taught in the very early stages of his training to imprison his soul in a cage of faith and contempt for chaos, where no demons could reach it. It is the only weapon a demon truly fears, an incorruptible mind. The mere existence of the Grey Knights is a victory of sorts against chaos. Grey Knights are constantly exposed to the horrible truths about the true threat of the demon lurking just beyond the circle of the Emperor's light. They witness sights that would shake the faith of an ordinary space marine to their very foundation. A Grey Knight's chaplain must always stand ready to renew a battle brother's devotion when it falters, to remind him of his duty and his vows when hope seems lost. Their stern demeanor and critical eye watches over every action of the battle brothers, from his initiation to the last breath in his service to the Emperor, ever alert of signs of slacking zeal or any wavering in belief. Above all, Grey Knight chaplains remind their fellow battle brothers to honor and keep their faith with the Emperor. Young neophytes must also be monitored and indoctrinated as they progress towards becoming a full battle brother. Grey Knight chaplains are treated with awed respect by their battle brothers, and like many chapters, it falls to them to choose which aspirant will undertake training to become an Astartes. During the trials of new aspirants, the chaplains are the ones who incorporate the culture and values of the chapter into them, as well as weeding out the spiritual weak and faithless individuals they find unworthy to become Grey Knights. The development and guidance of such superhuman warriors is only entrusted to the wisest and fiercest members of the chapter, mighty heroes who have demonstrated their own enduring devotion and uncompromising zeal on countless occasions. Chaplains are renowned for their sense of duty and responsibility to their battle brothers, knowing that only through unshakable faith can a space marine stand firm against the darkness rampant across the galaxy and in every human heart. One of the most notable Grey Knight chaplains was Chaplain Duradin, a veteran Grey Knight that always wore an enormous suit of Terminator armor when seeing to the chapter's spiritual health. One arm was painted a glossy black to signify his office as chaplain, and the rest was the traditional gunmetal gray of the Grey Knights. Durandin wore the same pair of ornate lightning claws that had been passed down from chaplain to chaplain since the chapter's earliest days. Aside from his Crozius Arcanum, Chaplain Durandin always carried the Liber Demonica, an enduring symbol of the Grey Knight's devotion to his mission, and contained the cardinal tenets of lore gathered from the dark knowledge caged within the Segmentum Sanctorum's walls. Every Grey Knight carried a copy of the Liber Demonica in a ceramite case on his breastplate, but Durandin carried it in hand. These gnarled tomes contain the chapter's rites of battle and detail the traditional duties of every Grey Knight's rank. The books themselves are also potent psychic talismans in their own right, with pages illuminated in silver and bound to a spine carved from the high bone of a martyred imperial saint. A Grey Knight Brotherhood champion is a specialist rank unique to the Grey Knight Space Marine chapter. These Astartes champions stand at the forefront of each Grey Knight Brotherhood, a superlative warrior who has forsaken all other martial disciplines to pursue perfection with the blade. A Brotherhood champion holds chief responsibility for the training of newly recruited chapter aspirants, but on the field of battle, his primary role is to act as the brother captain's personal bodyguard. The skill and knowledge of such an officer is not easily replaced, and it is only proper that they receive the foremost protection that the chapter can provide. Each champion therefore stands ready to die in his captain's stead. That said, such a heroic sacrifice is seldom necessary, for only the deadliest or luckiest of his opponents stand any chance of breaking a Brotherhood champion's guard, let alone surviving his vengeful return strike. Should a champion be struck down, it is unwise to count him out of the fight too soon. Upon receiving a mortal wound, a Brotherhood champion unleashes a pulse of psychic energy into his Aegis power armor, one final burst of forbidden magic for one final heroic deed. This dying impulse impels the suit to temporarily reknit any bone, and give the fallen Brotherhood champion the opportunity to strike one last blow for his battle brothers, an attack all the more deadly for its unexpected source. With this last act thus performed, the champion's soul finally passes beyond the veil of real space, his body to be later recovered and interned within the vaults of Anarch on Titan, so he may continue to guard against evil and death as he did in life. Brotherhood champions are protected by the Iron Halo, a halo-shaped ring that is positioned above the head of the wielder, usually mounted on the backpack of a Space Marine's power armor, but sometimes mounted on the back of the armor that protects the Space Marine's neck. The iron halo emits a very strong gravitic conversion field around its wearer, which makes his armor even harder to pierce with enemy weapons. In addition, it also provides its users with immense resilience to even the most potent weapons on the battlefield, such as las cannons and missiles of all varieties. The energy shield the halo generates stands a good chance of deflecting many deadly projectiles that would slay any unprotected Space Marine with ease. They also wield Nemesis Force Swords that are said to be amongst the oldest of the chapter's blades. Force Swords are crafted using arcane magic and complex scientific formulas, and incorporates a power field like all Nemesis Force weapons. The blade is tempered in iron, flecked with shards of silver, and inset with ancient runes of demonic slaying. In contrast to these primitive materials, the haft and hilt of the sword contains advanced Nemesis power field generators. Their balanced grip and nearly indestructible construction makes them perfect for parrying even the attacks of even the most powerful demonic foes. Now those are only two of the specialist ranks found within most Codex compliant Space Marine chapters. However, with the Grey Knights, it truly showcases how they are excellent demon hunters. So even a similar role within the Grey Knights is still very different than what is normal within a Space Marine chapter. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Now, I've never played Grey Knights. I rarely have read the lore of the Grey Knights. Looking through our catalog, I realized that the Grey Knights is a topic that we don't really cover all that much, or we haven't, at least I haven't. So what I need from you is, if you're a Grey Knights player, or if you're getting into the lore of Grey Knights, let me know in the comment section below what specifically you guys would like to hear about. I'll create a video for you. Thanks so much for listening, guys. More new content coming very soon. I've been working on some conversion work for a homebrew Space Marine chapter, and I'm filming it for you guys, so expect that pretty soon, which is why this is a re-upload. I've just been working on other stuff that's not lore related, so I kind of broke off from the regular schedule of just posting out content like this. But yeah, more new content coming soon. Thank you guys so much for listening. I'll talk to you tomorrow. This was Gershwan with One Mind Syndicate signing out.
Always used to put my freedom